We are live. We are live. It is Monday night. It is just after 5:30 Celtic Park time. And let's get some people online. Let's see who is all online. Why is it not up daytime? Hello, Kevin. Hello. Yeah, Lola. From Brecon, Paul Emery's in, hail, Baz. Baz, how bad was it? Because yeah, I've not watched the game. I'm going to be honest, Paul. I haven't watched the game. I never generally watched them, so you'll have to tell me how bad they were. Long may it continue. Paul, Patrick Toner, hail from Belfast. Stuart Ramsey's in, and Paul Emery's in. Bill for a contract extension. Lol, says Stuart Ramsey. Ali Jones, hail from a beautiful boys and girls. Ali Jones is in the house. Kevin Leslie's in. Afternoon. Baz, hail from the Grampian boys. Oh, the cracking buses are in tonight. Right. My question to you tonight is: there are only 36 people online. Is that all? We're a bit early tonight. It's still playing an advert, isn't it? No, Ali, I don't watch them. I don't watch them either. To be fair, right, make sure you give the video a thumbs up. There's 39 people on watching. Yaldi, let's go. Chill pill, how? Said were brutal. And even into Paul, even into Sam Mack. I'm going to be honest. I never watched them. I never watched them purely for one reason. Is when I do watch them, they play really good and win. Tonight's drink is good. I've got an iron brew. I managed to get some iron brew. There we go. Iron brew for tonight. Edward says, hail, hail, hi Baz. Right. I want to talk about the goalkeeping situation because although Joe Hart is a fantastic goalkeeper and is a goalkeeper that, you know, bags of experience, he does have a little bit in his locker that's a little, well, let's face it, the real reason that we need to talk about Joe Hart is the reason that he's not going to be here next season. Joe Hart will move on at the end of the season. He'll see out his 3-year contract, and it'll be a case of adios, amigo, or whatever they say in America, because that's where he's heading to. Is the Liverpool keeper Kelleher? Is he the man to come into Celtic? Now I've done some digging, and he's only on 500 grand a year at Liverpool. But without that experience, without a lot of first team experience, I mean, he has played 20, he has played one game in Europa. Other than that, he's not had a lot of game time. When you look at the Premier League, last year he played 6 games. He was on the bench. Interesting, detailed one. When you look at him, he's obviously a keeper that has been in and around Liverpool for some length of time. But is he the type of player that we need to be bringing into Celtic? Is he the type of goalkeeper that we need to be bringing in Celtic? Is it financially? It looks like a deal that could be done. The fact that he's Irish, hopefully he would jump through hoops to get to Celtic, and the fact that his wage is only on £500,000 a year at Liverpool. He is a highly rated keeper, but without that first team experience, is it the type of keeper that we need to bring in, or are we looking? I mean, it's okay bringing in, and the reason I'm asking this question is we moan about the fact that we're not bringing in experienced players to the first team, outfield wise. Now, not bringing in a goalkeeper that has lots of experience, is that not a bit? Well, we're moaning about one thing, so we can't moan about a player that plays in goals that doesn't have really a lot of experience at first team level, never mind European level. But it is a deal that looks like it could be done. So tell me your thoughts in the comments with this one, because I think it's an interesting one that really needs to be spoken about, because Bain is not the answer. Bain is definitely not the answer. We can all agree with that. Bain is a fantastic second choice keeper. when our keeper decides to get set off because he goes into mad flying tackle that you would have got away with back in the 1980s. But in this day and age, Joe Hart should have known better. We definitely need, we need a keeper that has had at least some first team experience. But we have to be very careful because we brought in a keeper that had bags of experience and it played fantastically well against us. And we paid over $4.5 million for him, and he was absolute rank rotten for Celtic. So it's trying to weigh up the pros and cons of the type of player that we bring in. And I mean, when you look at Barkas now, he must have slept with the goalkeeper during the summer because he's been playing fantastic this season. But let's get back to the Irish goalkeeper that is down in Liverpool. The fact that he is only on, I find that strange that he's only on 520,000 a year. But as a player, he did win the League Cup with Liverpool in 2022. So is he the type of player that should be on? They actually value him, according to Transfer Market, at 12 million. There is absolutely no chance of we paying 12 million for a keeper that's not had any experience. If you look at it, we've had keepers in before that, for me, have had a bit more experience, and we got them for a lot less. And Irish keeper playing for Southampton, says Mark. Definitely need an experienced goalkeeper, says Ali. He has got a lot of experience, says Jeff Ray. Yeah, but he's not playing first team week in, week out. And the hand of God has entered the room. Get away, Jenny. Right, get out. I've actually just had pizza delivered. Fantastic. I can't eat pizza live on air. 520,000 a year. Kill my granny for that money. Stuart, tell me about it. $500,000 a year. Get him up on loan, says Ali Jones. I don't think loan is for a goalkeeper. Getting a goalkeeper in on loan is not the option that Celtic need just now. Celtic need to get in a goalkeeper, and they need to get a back line that's going to do us for the next couple of years. My only worry is that Cameron Carter-Vickers has been at Celtic a few years now. It's not too often that you get a player of his calibre hanging around at Celtic for any length of time, and especially a good defender. And their shout and their cry was no defender at Ibrox. But it's a position, it works with Fraser Foster, but it does work with Fraser Foster. And then when we wanted Fraser Foster to stay for the most important season ever, Fraser Foster turned us down. That's why you shouldn't take a goalkeeper on loan, because when it comes to the really important bit, he said no thanks. And how we could have done for Stuart, how we could have done with Fraser Foster a few years back. But then we move on from that. We sold him for 12 million. Yeah, we did sell him. Loan with an obligation to buy, says Hazel. That could be an option. I am starving. Sorry, I need to eat a bit of pizza. Lowell will be jumping up and down 500k a year. Exactly. And we did sell Fraser Foster, but we need to bring. That's what I'm saying. But we brought in Fraser Foster, who was fantastic for us. But we don't need a number one goalkeeper on loan. 100%, says Paul Baird. We need a number one goalkeeper to come in and settle the team for the next couple of years, because going into the Champions League next year, we really need a goalkeeper. And for me, bringing in a goalkeeper that doesn't have Champions League level experience, doesn't have Europa, I mean, even getting one in that has played in the Europa League, we need. Why does he have to be Irish keeper? It says Chrisilla. It doesn't have to be Irish. It doesn't have to be at all. What if Keller was Chilpel? Exactly. Exactly. What if he was rubbish? And just because he's Irish, I'm not saying that we should go for him. I'm just saying that as a keeper that even Pat Bonner has been talking about. Pat Bonner says he says that Kelleher would be a man to rival Joe Hart for the number one spot. Should the Premier League giants Liverpool agree to the transfer? And this is what it comes down to. Will Liverpool agree to sell him? Joe Hart is 36, who's been first choice keeper at Celtic for 3 seasons now. You know, and look, the sending off at Livingston, I've seen keepers do worse and get sent off. Do you know? So I'm not going to. I'm not going to have. Definitely not going to have a dig at Joe Hart for that sending off because I've seen Celtic keepers get sent off a lot worse over the years. It brings back to the fact that in the summertime we all knew we needed a goalkeeper to come in. We needed a goalkeeper at the summer to just give Joe Hart a bit of competition. As it transpires, we knew that, well, we can't play. We need to have at least one goalkeeper that is Scottish. And ideally, we would bring in a really top goalkeeper from Scotland. But there really isn't one that can do really well, in my opinion, at that level that we need on a consistent basis. And the reason that I'm saying that is week in, week out with Celtic, you can be sitting twiddling your thumbs. Joe Hart could be sitting with a cigar drinking champagne if he wanted to at his age in the Celtic goal sometimes. But there's that odd moment where he has a lack of concentration. And this is where you've got to admit, who in their right mind wants to be a goalkeeper? There has to be something wrong with them up there if you want to be a goalkeeper, because you sit around and you're diving about that pitch, and then you go to a ground like Livingston, and it's not even grass. You're diving around on a crazy ass pitch. Anyway, let's see what some of you are saying in the comments. I hope the board makes amends in January and shells out a few quid, lads, says Martin. Paul Baird says he would take Joe Hart's place in his opinion. Save the penalty trumps anything. Lol, it does that. Lorna Galaxy says first sending off in his career. That's some going. It is that when you look at it like that. Carpet burns. What you been up to, Ali? Just asking. Just asking. Hail, hail, Celtic fans, says Tony. Let's go back and see what you're saying about the keeper. So why does he have to be Irish? It doesn't. Project keepers now. Jeff says project keepers. Yep. Your Fraser Foster is festering on the bench now. Sam, it is unbelievable that we could have got Fraser Foster. But it's in the past. It's in the past as far as I'm concerned. Keepers, if you look at Scott Bain, what has Scott Bain achieved in his career? Fair enough, he's got a few medals whilst being at Celtic, but let's face it, he got medals for sitting on the bench. I would like to get to the end of, if I was a football player, I would like to get to the end of my career and saying, my God, can you remember that save? No, we can't because it was on FIFA. You were on the bench in the game in reality. So I want a keeper that can. What else is going on with Segrist? I would prefer him to Bain on the bench. Hazel, the fact that we have to have a certain amount of Scottish players in Europe has put Scott Bain ahead of Segrist. And Brendan, having worked with him before, Bain that is, he knows that he's a good number two. And he said it. He said it publicly. He knows he's a good number two keeper to have. And when it comes to Europe, it's the Scottish contingent now. It's the Scottish contingent that is the problem, and it's completely understandable. I think that we should have a bigger Scottish contingent in the squad than we have. It's probably the lowest amount of Scottish players that we've had in any Celtic team for a long time, thanks to Mr. Postecoglou. Who brought in all these players and put them on long contracts, who was never going to stick around. Angus Gunn is Scottish for 2.5 million. Angus Gunn's the keeper that was playing against England, and he wasn't very good. That's all I'm going to say with that. He is a Scottish keeper, and at 2.5 million, is he the type of keeper that has that concentration level to be able to cope at Celtic? And is he not a current bun? So he might not even want to come to Celtic. Let's get back to what Paddy Bonner was saying. Said Barry Bonner reckons the Irish linked international would be an ideal fit at Celtic. Should should Liverpool sanction an exit? And I don't. This is it. He said. I do think that they need a young goalkeeper coming through the system. I don't think they've gone with Scott Bain for that reason. They've got Benji Siegrist, who doesn't seem to be pushing his way through to become a number two. Now, the fact that the real reason that is because Bain has to get some kind of game time to make sure that he's ready for Champions League, and he has to be the keeper for the Champions League, unfortunately. So it's a kind of worry that we've let Connor Hazard go down to England. I think there's an area where we should have maybe kept him, but he's at the stage where he really needs to go and play. Also, Kelleher coming up from Liverpool. I personally don't think that Liverpool would let him go. They might let him go out on loan, but that's not an ideal situation. It's definitely not an ideal situation. We need a goalkeeper that's going to come in, and the fact that Kelleher joined Liverpool's academy back in 2015, he served as an understudy to quite a few keepers over the years. Klopp said during the summer that he had no intention of letting the keeper leave on a permanent basis. So that's how good that Liverpool actually fancy the keeper. So they're not going to let him go on a permanent basis. The only reason Scott Bairn there is because he's Scottish. Everyone knows it. Even Scott, yes, this is exactly it. Evening, Baz. See me here from North Belfast. Love the show. Keep it lit. Gunn is under contract until 2025. Can't see Norwich letting him go on the cheap. Motherwell's goalie is decent. Excuse me a sec while I just have a bit of pizza. Kevin says, maybe we should check out the Asian market for a keeper, as Scots are no good. I think we're missing the point. I think, no, I don't want to go for an Asian goalkeeper. Definitely not. We need a goalkeeper that's played in Europe and that for one, is fluent in English so that they can talk to the defence and can dominate. We need a goalkeeper, even if we go to Poland, and we've been quite good at bringing Polish keepers in before. If we can go to Poland and bring in another decent keeper, it has to be another. Yes, Jeff, you're saying the words right in my mouth. There has to be a decent holy goalie somewhere in Europe. But then comes the problem of Brexit and everything, and players aren't as easy to move. Paddy Bonner and McAvenny must have been out together, says Chill Pill. There's every chance. No, I don't think big Paddy Bonner would be seen out with Frankie Boy. So tell me what you think about the goalkeeper situation in the comment section, because I, for one, we need to make a move for a goalkeeper this next window. Hazard was wash. I'm going to say that word, Joe Pill. We do need to bring in a keeper. In my opinion, we need to bring in a goalkeeper this window coming. The winter window is the ideal moment to bring them in. If we want to bring in someone that's going to take over the crown of number one from Joe Hart, we need to get them in now so that when we go into the Champions League next season, they know how the team work, they know how the squad work, they know the players, they know the defenders, they know the backroom staff, they know everything about the club, and they're comfortable. Waiting until the last minute is absolutely the wrong thing to do. And we all know that Brendan did want a goalkeeper in. The fact that we didn't go for one that's now sitting on the bench. What kind of keeper would I like? Come on, Baz, talk about something controversial. I'd like a keeper that would. Any keeper that can dominate his box and that can basically shout, come for crosses. We just need someone that can dominate their box and can be a good keeper for the next few years. No, we need another holy goalie type goalkeeper, someone that's a bit outrageous. In my opinion, it is crazy types of football players that want to be goalkeepers. There has to be a little bit something missing up there. Maybe Joe Hart. I can't spell the Scottish education system. Holy. So, Feed the Bear says, hail, hail. One that saves goals. One that saves goals, one that's good shot stopper. Um, and I think I'm going to start watching some European football to see what good keepers is out there that Celtic could maybe try and get. Right. Is there any other Celtic news that's been kicking around today? Jota transfer. Oh, who's talking about that? Oh, Football Scotland again. Um, Seems that they have got some kind of vendetta with the Jota situation. Kenny Miller blown away. Kenny Miller been talking about Celtic. Oh, here we go. Kenny Miller has been talking about Celtic. What is the numbnuts been saying now? Kenny Miller, excuse me, I'm absolutely starving today. Kenny Miller has been saying that Daizen Maeda is absolutely fantastic. His end product, his quality, his end product, his end. Come on, Daizen Maeda's end product is far from the finished article. His quality passing is not as clean as Hatate, says Miller. Kyogo and the McGregors out there give you 100 team, but what he does every week is gives 100%. He can press, he can run. He's very fast, and it makes him a real threat, says Kenny Miller. And he doesn't get too disheartened with one or two misses. Kenny, beast man. When you think of a player that missed chances, I think about Henrik Larsson. Because for every two that Henrik Larsson missed, he probably scored three. What's the Huns to do? It's all about Celtic, says Paul Bear. Well, it's just the fact that Kenny Miller has been speaking about a Celtic player. So, yeah, they can't get enough of it. Can't get enough of it. Neil Lennon's been talking about Daizen also. He said that the Japanese star is getting better and better every time he pulls on the Celtic jersey. Chris Sutton has been talking about Daizen. Chris Sutton has said that he reckons Daizen is one of the best players in the world at closing down players. That's interesting. And Peter Grant has also been talking about him, and he says that Daizen is absolutely outstanding for Celtic. He's one player, Daizen, that at 25-year-old is at the perfect age to stay with Celtic and produce in Europe for the next couple of years. We need to keep a team together now, diverting from a half-empty Ibrox. We're begging us back soon, says Jeffrey. Daizen Maeda is one of these players that we really need to be building the team around. The likes of Callum McGregor, Daizen Maeda, Kyogo, Rio Hatate. But there's big talk about Rio Hatate maybe leaving next year. Cameron Carter Vickers, we need to get in a strong defender that's going to sit with Cameron Carter Vickers. And we need a goalkeeper. We need a goalkeeper that's going to be here for the next 3 seasons. Because the next 3 seasons are probably the most important ones in Celtic's modern history, because it is to make sure that that we get into the Champions League this season and next season, because just purely for the money. Martin says Kyogo, Maeda, Abada, all missed chances, and they'll play crap teams until they don't on a European level. How you doing, Baz? Says Fast Night. Fine. Kenny Miller is Akbar. Star Wars. It is that. It is that. Sure, Ramsey says, Chilpel, if he sorts that out, he won't be at Celtic for long. Working off the ball is a big part of the modern day game. Exactly. And Dyson does that and this is why you need a good goalkeeper too. We need a good goalkeeper that's going to sit behind Callum and we all know that Callum's good at telling players where to go on the pitch and do, and doing that captain thing. But you need a goalkeeper behind him that has full trust of the players that are in front of him, and he trusts the players in front of him. So he knows that when a mistake is made, he's not going to run out and do what Joe Hart did at the weekend and try and smash the ball and take it at the same time and get sent off. Was it unlucky? Yes, I would say it was unlucky considering Joe Hart taking the full front of the player. Did he need to come out as far? In my opinion, no, he didn't need to come out as far. He could have closed the player down a bit. But then again, he might have given away a penalty. So you never know. Six and a half, a dozen, as I say. Let's get back to some of the comments. Street says, I wouldn't get tired jumped on. Saying that, sorry, I'm a bit messed up there. Phone call. Right. Ali Jones says, goalkeeper and striker. Around, yep, goalkeeper and striker. When we look forward to the Champions League games that are coming up, I think the one big worry for me is obviously the game against the Spaniards, because I think when we got them, we thought they're maybe not as good as the other side of Madrid, but they've got a duo that cost 92 million that completely humbled Real Madrid. Do that to Real Madrid. What on earth are they going to do to us? I mean, the Champions League is always difficult enough. The Feyenoord game, we could say that we were unlucky to go down to 9 men. When it comes to Feyenoord at Celtic Park, can we do something against them? Can we do something against Lazio? Lazio aren't playing as good just now, but none of them should really fill us with fear. But since that scoreline at the weekend, beating them 3-1 for me is just it's an unbelievable scoreline. Morteta has also netted 33 times in 66 appearances for Spain, so he knows how to score goals. Is Joe Hart the man to save us in Europe the rest of the season? We're going to have to deal with it. But going forward, I do think we need a goalkeeper and a left back, and I think that's something that we need to think about this coming window. Anyway, let's get back to some of the comments. I think the last three games has galvanised the team, says Stuart. I think so as well. But that Real Madrid side was a shocker, and it was a fair doing, says Tam. I passed a few places that were actually watching it, but I didn't walk in and see the scoreline. Um, it was a complete shocker. Liverpool are looking for 20 million seemingly for Keller, even though we should have been for Likovic, in my opinion, says Pork Chops Express. Yes. Atletico beat Real Madrid. Yes, they did. They beat them 3-1. 3-1. Talk about nobody in the country has a player like Maeda. And this is the one big worry that a team down south is going to come in and make a 25 million offer. Because Celtic will bite their hands off rather than trying to. I'm going to go back to this again. Rather than we only had to improve the squad with a couple of quality players in the summer. We brought in 9 players, and the majority of them are prospects. To try and make them better and move them on. Jota, Carl Starfelt, who's now captain of the team that he went to, and Aaron Moy. That's the 3 players. We only needed to bring in. We needed to replace the 3 players, and we haven't. We haven't really. That was disappointing. When you look at it after that, if we'd brought in 5 quality players that would go right into the first team and maintain the standard of the first team, would we be as worried about the Champions League? Because let's face it, going in with a team that doesn't have that much experience, play wise and age wise, it is a bit of a worry. Anyway, I would go for Benzema over Keller. Ali Jones says the best is yet to come. Really excited about the possibilities of this team. I think if we can win the league comfortably and we can get all these players back and get them some game time, we know Jota won't be back. Yeah, we know Jota won't be back. It was just a nonsense headline. Um, when we look at the players that we've got in the team, have we built the core of a team that's going to be there for the next 3 or 4 seasons that can one continuously to, continues to dominate in Scotland to make sure that they win the league? Because let's face it, even Daizen Maeda says although the Champions League is a good place to play and it's a place where all players want to play, our bread and butter every single week is the league. Is the week. Is the league. Jamie's saying no. Is are these players has Here's a question for you. Has Ange Postecoglou set the foundations for another run to 9 in a row? Just putting that out there. Just putting it out there. On top of our Giants, Donny, the sooner we should have more possession than Atletico. Spain and win games. Oh my goodness. Atletico are in third place, are they not? Let me just double check. They were in third place. Table standings. Athletic Club. Tell you one thing, Tierney's done all right. Barcelona, Girona, Real Madrid, Athletic Club Madrid. Atletico Madrid are down to fifth. We're down to fifth in the league. In Valencia. Real Betis are up to 10th to see. Interesting. Right, let's get back to some of the comments before we wind it up for tonight. Atletico will do all over the group. I could be wrong. I think Atletico, they're definitely going to finish top. We should go for Kieran Tierney in the summer. Kieran Tierney will not leave Spain in the summer. If anything, another team in Spain come in and buy Kieran Tierney from Liverpool. There's no chance that I don't think he'll enjoy Spain far too much, and he'll enjoy the type of football that gets played here, and he'll enjoy the climate during the summer and the winter. The fact that he's not playing in terrible winter, well, he'll play in bad weather up north of Spain, but there's not a chance that we're going to go and try and get him. Michael Ross, I mean, let's hope the cholesterol gets some. Da-da. Right, not even Keller playing. So what's all the buzz about? Is just EPL hype. I've also Brown Warrior says I always fancied Kieran Tierney. Thought he would end up in Italy, one of the big boys. No, no, I don't think he'll end up in Italy. I think if anything, he could end up at Valencia. Um, Maybe Barcelona if they get their act together. But when you look at the amount of money that both Barcelona and Real Madrid are spending on their stadiums, you've got to remember Barcelona stadium has been knocked to the ground and they're rebuilding that from scratch. The Real Madrid stadium, when you look at what they're doing at their stadium, it's just different level stuff. I mean, the pitch is going to be able to go into sections and come on underground so they can use it for concerts. But then they've got a full lighting system underground for that. Anyway, Italian defenders are good defenders. Chilwell, if we want quality left back, we need to consider him. He'll have 18 months. There's not a chance Chilwell will we go. Um, it, Kieran Tierney is they're loving him in Spain. Absolutely loving him in Spain. And the game at the weekend, he will get picked up by one of the top teams in Spain. That is my that is my prediction for Kieran Tierney next summer. Once his loan is over at the current team, he will go on to bigger and better things in Spain, and he'll love the lifestyle. He'll absolutely love it. I can't blame Kieran Tierney for preparing Spain. At the end of the day, nah, neither can I. Neither can I. Right, we have been on for 34 minutes. I have got a pizza sitting here getting cold, so I am going to. Yeah, Starfelt is actually captain. He's been made captain of the club. He's doing that well. He's doing that well. Massive sell and will do nicely, Baz. Yes, Brownwater, exactly. This is back then. Ali Jones. Lorna says, thumbs up, lads and lassies. Cheers, Baz. Enjoy the pizza. Have a good night. You all have a good night. Also, I shall see you on the video tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'm going. I might do another news video tonight just to see what's kicking around. If there is any interesting news stories or anything I feel like chatting about, I might stick up another video. If not, I shall see you all tomorrow. But now have a fantastic